I am absolutely disgusted, my wife, that you never watch these normally. They're all available. There is a full archive of everything I've done since we moved to YouTube, but no, you're too busy. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Nick Burnow, it's the first time you're here. Plan, Nick, you'll find there's rarely a plan, my friend. Rarely a plan. Um, Think of it as a job, says Jagger. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, people. Well, well, well. Hang on, let me just get comfortable. There always has to be a bit of burr shuffling, doesn't there, to start off with? I've got the sound on the game turned off as well because I didn't want you to get disturbed. There we go. Right. Hello, everyone. How are you? How are you? How are you? I have to say, I have been thoroughly. I haven't been able to participate as much as I wanted to, but I've been thoroughly enjoying the current CG, particularly the trade side of it. Um, as a lot of you will know, before carriers launched, a lot of people didn't really understand what they were for, what they could be used for, and they've always, a base that you can move anywhere and do anything with. Of course it's useful. But I understand that not everybody could maybe join up the dots. That's great. This CG for me is a perfect example of what carriers are really, really, really good at. So if you've not been participating, you have missed something. You've still got probably a few hours, but I can tell you now the trade half of it is going to end today. You've got basically a delivery point way out in the Coalsack Nebula, and the goods that you need to deliver are in the bubble. It's a good couple of jumps for a carrier. So you can basically, what we've been doing since Thursday, basically, our squadron and community on Discord, what we've been doing is basically filling up people's carriers, jumping out there with the carrier, and then unloading the carrier, and then pile on the carrier again, and then jump back, and then do it and go boom, 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 and it's it and half tickling my trade bones. Oh, I'm really enjoying it. Anyway, Nick, there is never a plan. There is never a plan. A very loose plan, maybe. So, for example, today I'll do some hellos in a minute. Hello, Matraxis. How are you, mate? Um, uh, Today, for example, the plan is to unload someone's carrier. While I've been playing this morning, we've unloaded a couple of carriers, I think. My carrier, which I'm sitting on at the moment, is empty. I was just helping um, Siren Farsia unload her carrier. That is now empty. So now we're looking for a. Just as the stream starts, we haven't got a carrier to unload. So if anybody knows of a carrier that's in the Coalsack Nebula at the moment that wants unloading, or if anybody wants to hit EDDB for me, that would be very useful. I need to find a carrier to unload. So anyway, Wampus, hello. Sweeney, hello, mate. How are you? Very tight. Phil Barnes is here. Hello, Nick. How are you, mate? Vexagon Matraxis. Very great. I love that. Commander Rini's here, but who cares about that? Bagfather, sorry, darling. You know I didn't mean that. I didn't get you a cup of tea before we started this, did I? That means I'm probably going to be in trouble. Bagfather, hello, mate. Elfina's here. Yagashura is here. Who haven't I said hello to? Fearless F21. Hello, mate. Wintermute is here. Hello, buddy. How are you? Wayne Grave. Have I done everyone? Arian, hello, mate. Arian McDade. I don't want to miss anyone. I think that's everyone that said hello. All right. All right. How is your week going? More importantly, how is your weekend going? How is it? How is it? How is it? It's absolutely horrendous weather here at the moment. It's very we live in Cornwall in the UK, which if you don't know is a peninsula, sticks out into the Atlantic and quite often gets the best of the weather, to say the least. Hello, David. You're right, mate. Cornwall is currently getting a bit of a kick in. Nothing unusual for these parts, to be honest, but it's currently getting a bit of a kick in. We're getting a right soaking. So we're indoors. The central heating's on. This room is extremely dark. It's very cozy. It's lovely. It's good. It's good. We've got video games. Nick, I'm in a Type 9 at the moment, mate. But I'm on my carrier, so I've got my entire collection with me, which is another one of the really useful things about carriers. We can jump around wherever we want, and we can take whatever we want with us, and range really isn't a problem. It's lovely. What's the weather doing in your particular parts of the world, people? Can you tell us where you are and what's your weather doing? Phil Barnes has had some military stuff this weekend. What are you doing, Phil? Can we know? Are we allowed to know? Weather in the Midlands is pretty much the same. Yeah, I've got a feeling the whole of the UK is basically underwater at the moment. Bagfather's in the Lake District. Is most of the lake up in the air at the moment, Bagfather? And on its way down to you? Someone find me a carrier. Find me a carrier, people. I'm going to hit EDDB and see if I can find the stuffs for sale in this local area. If not, I can jump us back to the bubble, but that will take half an hour, so I don't really want to do that if I can possibly help it. Where am I? I'm roughly there. Include planetary? Nope. Minimum supply. Include fleet carriers? Hell yes. Let's find building fabricators. Landing pad size. It's going to be large. I want to buy them. Minimum supply. Let's go for at least 10,000. Okay. None of that is useful. None of that is even remotely useful. Include fleet carriers. No. Oh, okay. That's why I didn't. It didn't accept the. Oh, here we go. Okay, that's useful. That person has got 11,000 tons. That could be extremely useful. Let's try and find that one. The problem with this is it only gives you the sort of the code for the carrier that you're looking for and not the name. So we'll probably have a hilarious time trying to find where we're going. Siren, if you're still online and you're still looking for a carrier, mate, I'll just dump the I'll dump the name of the region that I'm, or the system that I'm going to, into the scratch pad, into the system name scratch pad in Discord. If you want it, mate, that should do it for you. But let's see where we end up anyway. You never know, it might not be there. I hope it is there. I didn't look how recent that intel was. That could well be yesterday. Hang on. 5 minutes ago. Okay. 5 minutes ago, KBF-78W had 11,000 tons of building fabricators. I don't know whether or how much they're selling them for, but we don't care. We don't care. That is not our concern. I'm going to have a look at your responses in a minute and see what your respective weather's doing. Okay, so we've arrived. What am I looking for? See, it's a great big number. If it was called the, I don't know, the hairy trousers or something, I'd be able to find it. KBF-78W. Shout if you see it. Actually, I could sort by carriers, couldn't I? That would be enormously helpful. Let's do that. Oh, that's no good. Look, that's no good. All I've got is names, and this. Oh no, there we go. KBF-78W. Got it. Found it. Found it. We're going. It is called the Carapavo. Shall we see who it's owned by and make them mildly famous as well? It's right on top of the star. Nice piece of parking, mate, whoever you are. I wonder what a Carapavo is. It's probably a parrot or something, isn't it? Carapavo. Commander Cal Dalicourt of the Squadron Alchemy Den. Friends only. We won't be able to land. Oh, tedious. What a new... Oh, God. Okay, let's find another one. Forget that one, Siren, if you're still listening to the sound of my tired and exasperated voice. Where's this one? Let's jump over here.
Frameshift drive charging.
I'll tell you what, Siren, if you hang around and I'll find a candidate we can actually land at. Otherwise it might have to be a return journey, but we'll see.
3, 2.
I'd rather not
1.
treat the
Engage.
stream to 30 minutes of the inside of my fleet carrier. It's not really the plan, but I'm sure we can find something. I wish EDDB would tell you whether you can land there or not. Or at least what the permissions are set to. Okay, who are we looking for now? XBG19B. XBG19B. Lucklalus Laboratory. Squadron and Friends. Not that one. They're all going to do this, aren't they? They're all going to be, because everybody's at the CG with their friends. They don't want strangers landing there. I wonder if any of our squadron are in the area at the moment and have brought their carrier. If you have, can you make yourself known to me, please? Okay, Phil. Swedish Military Reserve Force. So nothing overly secret. No, Nick. I quite like the I mean, it's nice that the Thargoid people, the anti-Thargoid people, have got something to do.
Frameshift
And yeah,
drive
the combat one
charging.
was good last week. Sun's out in Lincolnshire, sort of. It's having a go, mate. At least it's trying. C6 sailors in Singapore. It's 30 degrees and raining. I bet it's basically turning to steam as soon as it hits the road, isn't it?
Engage.
It's raining in Ohio. Isn't the internet amazing? Rain in Norway. Would have been snow a few years ago. Nothing terrifying about that, Yagashura. He lied. Who are we looking for now? I forgot who we're looking for now. Always lots here. Let's see. Who are we after? We are after L1T4HZ. 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 That is that. Squadron and Friends. They're all going to be Squadron and Friends, aren't they? I can see how this is going to go. Squadron and Friends. Oh, this guy's all. What's he doing? What's he doing? Should we just go and see if he's doing anything? The Saipan. Let's go and have a look and see what Saipan's doing. I wonder if this guy is selling anything. He's probably not selling anything. He's probably just ganking incoming traders. Well, I'm sitting there wondering why my head tracking's not working. I've got it turned off. It does my brain in when I do that. So how's your day been today, people? I guess a lot of you, not all of you, but a lot of you are probably having a relatively lazy Sunday. I would have thought. We were actually in work this morning. But the rest of our Sunday is going to be extremely lazy. We're in work tomorrow morning as well. And then we've got the rest of the week off. Can't wait. Cannot wait. Because Ree is much, much cleverer than I am, she's basically worked out our holiday so that we essentially get 1 week off a month. Because she's some sort of time off witch. She's managed to cook it. Haven't you, dear? She's managed to cook it so that we've got 1 week off a week, so a month rather. So next, well, this coming week, it's basically going to be our 5 days off. Carrier services have been temporarily suspended.
Our carrier respects careful pilots. Watch your speed at there.
Yeah, he is. He's gone into
Attention.
lockdown, look.
This carrier has scheduled a hyperspace jump.
He's gone into
Please complete
lockdown.
any standard fitness in the system prior to departure.
Oh, for goodness
Additional
sakes.
tips, this carrier is about to engage the frame shift drive. Please move to a safe distance.
Oh, goodness sakes. Nice looking carrier. Everybody's got that kit on it, haven't they? Okay. Well, I suppose we could go and look at another random one. Let's see if we can find another random one while we wait for this guy to jump. Squadron and friends. Docking access is all. Doesn't actually say here. Does it say, right, no departure planned? It also says he's mining. I find that hard to believe. Was that the Walter Raleigh? It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Attention.
Oh,
Counting
for
down.
goodness sakes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bye-bye.
Frameshift drive charging.
Right. The Walter Raleigh does not currently have a destination booked according to the in-game tools.
4, 3,
and is
2,
letting anybody
1.
land according to the
Engage.
in-game tools, which would seem to imply that it's probably empty. Because my luck is just not in. Wintermute, isn't that the truth? They must have known. They must have known we were coming. And helpfully, Elite has changed my target, so that's good. There's Walter Raleigh, right. God, this thing turns like a continent. I do love it, though. I do love the Type 9. But it's like trying to steer Europe, honestly. Here we go. Last I looked, the CG was really close to finishing. I was a bit worried, to be honest, when we looked at it this morning, and I was a bit worried that it was actually going to finish before the stream started. It seems to have been very, very well attended. Well, it's letting us land, so that's a good sign. Elf Nazir, hello, buddy. It might do, Reenie. Is that the Muscat End? What's the... What? Is that the system name?
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, no, it doesn't help because that one's jumping back. Space Mercenary was not going to participate in this CG, but here I am loading my... Honestly, mate, it's really good. It's really, really good. Have you got a lot of room in it? Let's make sure I haven't missed any... Hello, Airlock Doc. How are you, mate? Right, what have we got here? Please be selling something. Please be selling something. Please be selling something. Nothing. False.
Landing gear retracted.
We might have to take matters into our own hand, people. Yeah, we've still got a while to go on the CG. Do you reckon I've got time to get back to Tawanta, load up, and then get back here again? Surely. surely. So did you see the news on Friday, people? And the fact that we're not getting a developer diary now until December. Did you see that? Did you hear that? And how are you feeling about that? I'm just going to sit here for a second, just see if I can... That one's no departure planned. Everybody's allowed to land. Let's try that. Stucky's Galactic.
Frameshift drive charging.
And how are you feeling about that? And Frontier have said that there's something
4,
else.
3,
They haven't said
2,
when, and they
1.
haven't said what, but there is
Engage.
something else coming instead of a developer diary. I assume they mean this month, but I honestly don't know. First loop of shame. Have you had a lot of success finding carriers out there carrying goods to buy for the CG? Phil Barnes, not at the moment, mate. No. I've been unloading my own carrier and other people's carriers that we know about up until this point. But right now, at this precise moment, no dice. So there's something else coming before the dev diary. So we've got a dev diary in December. I don't know when in December. But in lieu of a dev diary, I assume this month, but I don't know. But in lieu of a dev diary, Frontier have said they've got something else. No one yet knows what it is. I don't think it's going to be. There was like, you know, there was a couple of people were kicking around the idea of a beta. I've got to be honest. I think that's extremely unlikely. Personally.
Welcome, Commander. Please request docking permission before
But I
approaching a landing
wonder,
pad.
and I don't want to get my hopes up. You know how these things go. But I am wondering if we might get a gameplay reveal, maybe like a trailer or a live stream. That would be nice. I think we're at the point where we need to see some gameplay, don't we? Thank you, Wampus. That's very generous of you. I'm good. Thank you very much. Wintermute is jumping back to load up.
Landing gear deployed.
Yeah, I think most Phil, you're right. I think most fleet carriers for the at the CG are indeed locked. Mine included, to be honest. Mine's just been kept to Squadron and Friends, but that's because we were all jumping at. Look at that view. That we were all jumping out here with the intention of unloading it. So the last thing we wanted really was the stock disappearing while we were trying to do it.
We've got you safe and sound. Commence
Oh,
shutdown.
Bromelite. That's no
What can
good.
we do for you, Commander?
Is Bromelite any good? I suspect it isn't. No. It's a complete chocolate teapot. Power generators, robotic structural regulators, and building fabricators. That's no good. I don't want any of that.
Landing gear retracted.
Go for launch. You have liftoff.
Okay, who else we got? Entropic Voidwalkers Council. There's a grand name. Heavens. No departure planned. Docking access for all. You just became our next contestant.
Frameshift drive charging.
Entropian Planitia.
3, 2,
Heavens.
1. Engage.
We do need a Wintermute. We do, don't we? Honestly. Like the screenshots and everything that we've seen, even the ones that were in PC Gamer were definitely the most impressive. Everybody, please tell me you've seen those, by the way, because they really are quite impressive. And like I say, you don't want to get too excited. but everything we've seen so far, with the best will in the world, is just screenshots, and that can be easily staged. That's not a criticism. All companies do that. Rini and I can confirm that we ourselves have done that in game development. We've staged screenshots to give an indication of gameplay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But we need to see something in motion now, I think. It's been a long time coming. I suppose not as long a time coming as the wait for carriers. Were any of you guys at the Frontier Expo in 2017 when fleet carriers were announced? Was anybody who's in the chat room now? Were any of you sitting in that hall watching that presentation? Yeah, Nick, I think you might be right.
Landing gear deployed.
Either that or we just do a tour of everybody's carriers. That could be fun. I'm kind of with you on that. Phil's saying the FPS stuff, it's the main draw of Odyssey. It is for me as well, but Yagger's saying the main draw is atmospheric flight. FPS is irrelevant. Do you mean that, Yags? I don't know that it's a worry, Wintermute. I don't know that it's a worry. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't worry me so much. It's just like, I just want to. I suppose I was quite reassured by the. I say quite reassured. I was very reassured by the heavens. I don't want any of this. This is no good. What are you selling this stuff for? No one wants that rubbish out here.
Landing gear retracted.
But you are interested in the FPS stuff as well, though, aren't you, Yago? I thought. Docking access all. Okay, let's try that one. Dragonfly Cove. You're interested in the first-person shooter stuff, aren't you, Yago? I thought. Nick, Atmo's main draw for you. Always up for good FPS. The atmospheric stuff. It's not that I'm not looking forward to that, but it doesn't.
Frameshift drive charging.
At the end of the day, that's just kind of, you know, descending
4,
down to a.
3,
Oh,
2,
okay. Tell me,
engage.
tell me why you're excited about that, Nick and Yaga. What is it you're particularly looking forward to with atmospheric landings? Because it's not that I don't want those. It's just that they don't particularly. It doesn't particularly go, oh my god, I can't wait to land on a planet with a thin atmosphere. It doesn't really. I don't know how to get it across. Do you know what I mean? Skillfully avoided loop of shame there as well. I think I find that's kind of a meander of shame. I'm going to call that one. Head tracking's off again. Do you know what I mean though? Like the it's not that I don't want atmospheric landings. It's just kind of like, right, it's just another landing. I can't, unless it's going to be markedly different. I can't. Yeah, I suppose so, Yag. But okay. Yeah, I have obviously seen what you do. Yeah. Come on, Dragonfly. Come on.
You are welcome at this carrier, Commander. Let us know if you're looking to dock.
I'm quite enjoying hearing all the different.
Is currently unavailable. Docking requests are considered within 7.5 kilometers of
I thought we
our
were
carrier.
locked out then. I'm quite enjoying hearing all the different noises, all the different voices and everything. I've heard a couple today that I've not heard before.
Clearance to land granted. Your computer will do the rest.
Including this very English one. A yin and a yang and a zibbity jib. BLP, yeah, I suppose it does. Like, are you particularly looking forward to hooning then? So that's particularly what you're excited in. So you're just sort of looking for a kind of a bit more kind of planetary flight simulation. I suppose my concern with atmospheric landings in a game like Elite is that it's not there's not going to be like a massive difference. I don't know that for I haven't got a clue, but I can't imagine, particularly on a tenuous atmosphere, that there's going to be a colossal difference with what we've got right now. I'm sure there will be flight assist off, Yags, but for the most part, I can't honestly see it being that different. Am I wrong? What's with all these carriers with nothing on them? What's going on? I'm just going to check on Discord and see if anybody's fleet carrier is due out here. Nope. I think we might have to take matters into our own hands, people. Phil, don't trust any carrier you don't know. I tell you what, mate, I wouldn't leave my ship on a carrier I didn't know. Ree's done that at least once.
Launch confirmed.
Okay, Yanks, yeah. Okay. Atmospheric flight is the main draw for you right now. You do appreciate all the other stuff. I think, I have to say, mate, I think you and I, well, I'm kind of hoping you and I are going to get quite a lot from the other stuff. I hope so, anyway. I hope so. The possible advent of space legs was one of the main driving forces behind the creation of Black Ops. You remember you remember that. So, right, I'll tell you what, people, I'm going to jump back to the cave, and I can carry on talking to you good folks. If anybody wants a lift back to Tawanta on the cave, it is going to be leaving in about 15 minutes. After I have done lots of clicky. I don't want to go there. I do, however, want Spanch. Here we go. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. One of the cats is, but I always try and give you a quick cat report whenever I stream. The young man Stanley is currently behind me. The reason I've taken this particular opportunity to talk to you about my cat is that he's just started snoring. Cat cam is still something I very much want to get set up as well. And now that thank you to some lovely people in our Discord community, I now have spare camera capacity.
2, 1, engage.
So I should be able to set up cat cam, which I think I might have to do this week as we're off work a bit. Ree, can you, if you're still watching, can you remind me cat cam? Stan has a real propensity. He sleeps a lot, as obviously as all cats do. But Stan really has turned it into a life goal, to be brutally honest. And he snores unbelievably loudly. Like, for a cat, it's weird, you know. That's how much he snores. Hello, Graham. Thank you very much for the sub, mate. Welcome to the stream. How are you, sir? I suppose you're right. I suppose you're right there, Wintermute. Yeah, the lack of gameplay 3 or 4 months before the expected launch is odd. Is certainly odd. Yeah, I suppose we've always, because they originally said that Odyssey was going to be a. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here, right? My addled brain possibly is remembering this wrong, but I'm sure they originally said that Odyssey was going to be December, and then they decided it was going to be early 2021. That is right, isn't it? I'm not. Yeah, I saw, Graham. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, I saw that. Um, I'm sure they changed the sort of expected launch window. So we kind of assumed, and also from some comments that David Braben had made, we kind of assumed that January was extremely likely. But if we're this close to January, because it's only a couple of months, and we've still not had gameplay, and given the situation that, game development is always a bit wobbly anyway, and stuff slips. I get that. That's fine. And also the conditions that they're working under at the moment. None of them are in the office. They're all at home, and it's likely that that's going to continue in these extraordinary times for quite some time. Hello, Seal 2 Fast. How are you? I suppose it's not entirely unexpected that whereas we thought we were looking at January, it may be extremely likely that we're probably looking at March, and late March at that. And also the fact that like, as you say, we're this close and there's no gameplay really been shown yet. That would all sort of seem to reasonably indicate that. That was weird, the sound cut out then. That would seem to reasonably indicate that we're not looking at January, wouldn't it really, with the best will in the world.
Attention all ships. This carrier is scheduled a hyperspace jump. Please conclude any remaining business in the system prior to departure.
That would seem likely, I guess. As much as I don't want to believe it.
Permission granted. Check your landing pad assignment.
Nah, not too much. It's been a bit annoying so far, Seal Too Fast, to be honest. We've been trying to we've been unloading carriers all morning, and just as we've come to do the stream, there's now no carriers to unload. Yeah, Wintermute's saying the end of March. That is looking likely. Hello, Kevin. You all right, mate? You would like to see a beta in January. Do you think there'll be a beta?
Landing gear deployed.
Do you think that's likely? I know they've kind of made out, well, they used to make a habit of doing betas all the time, but that was for sort of obviously for content, for new content drops. But then that kind of stopped, and then everybody kicked off and said, why don't we get betas for content drops anymore? So then they started doing betas again. But this is an expansion. This is a whole new bag of crisps, and I don't remember there being a beta for Horizons. I could well be wrong, but I suppose the only way, Phil, is that you could sort of they could do a beta, but it would be not the full ticket, just the bits that they need testing, like the first person shooter mechanics or atmospheric flight and all that kind of thing, but nothing, but strip everything else out. But of course that then presumably takes development time as well, because you then stop developing the game and you're instead developing the beta. So I don't know, it just feels to me that there wouldn't be a public beta. Do you know what I mean? Behind the scenes beta, people are going to be a lot more tolerant and are not going to care, but a public beta, the public kind of expect a free version of the game for a couple of months. There was a beta for Horizons. So planetary landings and stuff, before they arrived, airlock dock, there was actually a beta for that. Was there a public beta? Core, Space Mercenary, the networking. Oh. Honestly, Elite Dangerous instancing, and that I wish I had an understanding of how it worked and what we needed to do to ensure that everybody can get into an instance. Because we did uh, an expedition recently, as you may or may not know, and for most of that expedition we had horrendous um, instancing problems until the last day, and it just so happens on that last day, um, I was the first one into the instance that everybody ended up in. And then when that happened, I don't remember anybody having any instancing issues at all. Everybody got in. There were loads of us flying around. Everybody got in. There were no problems at all. And the only difference, um, I think, to the previous weeks is, like I say, someone else was in the instance first before we all joined. And in the case of when we join the instance first, I suspect, although I don't know, we've probably got more bandwidth than everybody else because of what we do here. We have got shed tons of bandwidth on a nice tight fiber connection. We've literally got fiber to the door here, so that's the only thing that's, our internet connection is very good. So I'm wondering if that played a part in it. And if that was the case, we need to do some science, I think. I think we might need to do some testing. If that being the case, then FDev used to do paid for betas. They did? I don't remember that. Do you mean the ones that were associated with the Kickstarter? Yes, Phil Barnes shed tons of bandwidth. Commander Two Sheds Burr, they called me. Our bandwidth here is truly offensive. I can't remember what it is. Ree might be able to tell you, but is that you, Elf? Just flew over. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? It is not. Who's that? I'm going to say that's Grime Ripe. Yeah, our bandwidth here is truly a thing to behold. So I'm wondering that, because the last thing you don't want to be going, you don't want to be sort of. I suppose this is one of my big concerns with Odyssey, is that will be you'll go to sort of, you'll go to one of the social spaces and say to, I said this on the last stream, like you'll go to one of the social spaces and go, okay, yeah, I'll meet you by the pot plant or something, and you'll be standing there and they'll be standing there, but you won't be able to see each other. That's one of the more common problems at the moment. You'll be all winged up and all that kind of stuff, and but you won't be able to see each other, and that will be quite annoying, to say the least. And we don't want that, do we, people? That is not what we want. Nothing threatening about having that cutter pointing at me, is there? That's good. That's quite fortuitous, wasn't it, that 07 then? Is that you, Grime Ripe? Let's go cutter chasing. How's my camera work, Ree? Pretty shocking. So the problem with doing something like this live on stream, when your wife is a camera operator, it's just pressure, man. Pressure. Try to get down there for the landing now. See, they're funny, the cutters, the stairs at the front all looks entirely appropriate and all great and everything. Look really fantastic. Can't wait to walk up the stairs. And he's got these little diddle feet at the back. I don't know, they don't look kind of. It looks like it's missing a set. Like it should have some in the middle. I'm not casting aspersions on your cutter, but you know, you've got some landing gear issues at the bottom. Warning extreme heat. I've never noticed that before. Look at that. I've never seen that before. Bait. Wave. No? Looks like Thunderbird 2, doesn't it, when you see it like that? Oh, here we go. Honk. Jump happening.
Carrier has entered pre-flight lockdown. All services are now on hold.
A bit twitchy, honestly. Honestly, Kevin. Well, this is the thing, you see, mate. I take it it's the trade aspect of it that you're interested in. Was that you, 57 Thorns? Are you grime ripe? This is the thing, Kevin. Right. So this is what this CG has kind of forced. Is something I wanted to do for ages, to be honest. I want to find a nice trade route between our home plot in Tawanta and somewhere like the Witch Head. The cave is on its way back, JT. Yes. From our home plot in Tawanta to somewhere like you're a space tracker. Awesome. Okay. So I want to find a trade route that goes from the bubble essentially to somewhere like the Witch Head sector or the Coalsack Nebula. Hello, Grime Ripe. So that basically we don't have to wait for the next CG before we can do this, because this has been really good fun. This has been brilliant. Like getting everybody together and going, right, so what I want to be able to do is just go, right, we're going to trade, I don't know, carrots or something. Bad example, but you know what I mean. Turns out if we can find somewhere in the Witch Head sector that wants to buy carrots, and because they're that far away from the bubble and they're rare out there, fingers crossed they'll pay premium for it. Find somewhere in the bubble that's selling it for cheap, and then kind of get a nice bum 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 going. And it's a nice, good, fun community thing. Everybody makes tons of money. I want to get something like that going on. What's the best way to work that out? We need to use something like EDDB, don't we? Opinions, please, people. Let's try a single hop route. Soldier system. So that's no good because that's looking for a specific system. Loop route. Loop route's only wants me to find somewhere near where the EDDB doesn't obviously, fair enough, doesn't really account for carriers at the moment. Okay, let's try something. Okay, I'm going to try finding a single route between Tawanta and somewhere in the Lembas is in the Witch Head sector, isn't it? Let's try that. They're buying bio waste. That's quite impressive. Yeah, literally the most profit. That's ridiculous. Is for bio waste. That's insane. That can't be right. There is a 20,000 demand for bio waste in Sal Prospect in Lembas. What on earth are they doing? There's a profit there to be made of 617 credits per ton, if I'm reading this correctly. That's not right, is it? What's going on there? What the hell does the Witch Head sector want with that much bio waste? Let's find somewhere else in while we wait. Okay, how about Shenvi? Let's try Shenvi and see what they're up to. Do you know what I mean though? Because if we did this, then we haven't got to wait for. Yeah, they want bio waste as well, so that's good. Yeah, Wintermute. I wanted the frame shift drive as well, just to sort of. I'm probably not going to use it to be brutally honest, but just to say that I've got it. But I don't think I'm going to be in the top 25%. I wasn't last time I looked anyway. Oh, there you go. I am at the moment. Okay. I was in the top 50 last time I looked, so if we can get back to Toanta, load up again, and then get back out here, that should be doable, surely. I mean, there's no way that's going to. Well, it's going to take us. It's going to take us another 15 minutes to get back to Toanta, and then we can start loading up again. But that's not going to be done in like, an hour, is it? There's no way that's going to be finished in an hour. So someone else clearly using this sector as a waypoint on the way back. Look at that, and it's a BPFC ship as well. Who is that? Bandy Bushido. Bandy Bushido. Hello, mate.
Shields offline. Silent running.
I've just activated silent running. That was clever.
Thermal signature restored.
Well done.
Shields online.
See that Space Mercenary. That's an interesting point as well. I'd really want that as well. It would be really nice if you were on when you're on your bridge, you can actually see people walking around. You're right, Bandy, mate. You can actually see your crew sitting around, and some of the seats are being used, and because a lot of those bridges on like the Condor and the Beluga in particular, that's an awful lot of dead space, and I mean, it really is a massive amount of dead space with nothing in it. There's no way you would really design a ship like that. So it'd be nice if they got kind of a bit of a refit and put a few more seats in and a few more consoles and made it look a bit more bridgy. Do you know what I mean? Right now, Wampus, we're in LHS 2983, but we're not staying. We're on our way back to Toanta. We're not in the Coalsack Nebula anymore, mate. We're in LHS 2983, but I'm going to load up and then I'll be back. So you might be better off just staying there until we get there, unless you can get another one. Checking Aura for the actual tonnage you need for 25%. What do you mean bio waste? We could do bio waste runs, couldn't we? That would be quite funny. Siren, count me in when you work it out. Will do, my love. Absolutely will do. I think I need to do a bit of research in the Witch Head sector and just see what it is they're liable to want, and then try and be a bit smart about it. What do they need? Does anybody know what any of the sites in the Witch Head sector or in the Coalsack Nebula? I suppose that would be an interesting one when all the new sites that are going live in the Coalsack after this, are they going to need stuff? They'll need stuff, won't they? Surely. So we could be stocking those guys up again. That could be worth looking at, actually. That could definitely be worth looking at. Does anybody know a better tool than EDDB that would help me work out what it is I want to know? Anybody got any thoughts? Because I don't really want to be shipping bio waste. I've had some bad experiences, most of you will know, with the Burrs Cave being full up of stuff that we suddenly don't need. And it's okay if it's water, but if it's suddenly full of a load of bio waste that I don't need, orcs, honestly. I want to go there, please. I want to go there. Okay. The cave will be back in Toronto in about 16 minutes. So how about if I... Oh, how are we going to do this then? So I want to find what they're importing. But none of them seem to... Well, shouldn't they be showing up on here then if they want something? But I suppose it only does local trade routes, doesn't it? Is that right? You know the little lines between systems, and there aren't enough. This is kind of my point. There aren't enough systems here to supply to do like local trade runs. So do these places just not want anything then? If so, that's disappointing. So that's agricultural. Ah, okay, that's why they want the bio waste. It's fertilizer. They use it as fertilizer, don't they? Someone correct me if I'm wrong. That is right, isn't it? I'm not wrong, am I? They want bio waste for fertilizer. That's why there's high demand. So maybe we will be. But there is kind of a comedy irony to that, isn't there? We'd be shipping. There is a degree of that would be quite funny. Okay, is that right, Yaga? You only get information in a 40 light year cube. Okay. So we'd have to be down there to know for sure. That's an investment. What do they industrial high tech investment economy? So they'd want that. Okay, so they might. Well, they'd probably be taking stuff from these guys then, wouldn't they? Agricultural. What's that one? High agricultural and high tech. And these are high tech. So they probably all serve each other quite well then. Those ones. I wonder. Let's turn off other. This is one of the problems, isn't it? It shouldn't be this hard to find out. It shouldn't be this hard to find out what you want. I suppose we could always do a trade route clear across the bubble as well. That would be, but it's not nearly as much. I don't know. You kind of want a bit of distance in between, don't you? You want a bit of dead space in between because I'm presuming that's going to put the price up, but I could be spectacularly wrong there. Spectacularly, hilariously wrong. John Thomason, they buy low temperature diamonds. What, down there in the Witch Head, do they? Yeah, that's another problem, isn't it, Yaga? You also need to have been docked in that system before, which is, oh, that is a complete chocolate teapot. That seems such an odd way of doing things, unless sort of Frontier deliberately wanted everyone to use outside tools, because otherwise it's completely useless. Otherwise, isn't it? Because you're not, even if you're just trading in the bubble, how many systems are there in the bubble? It's just it's ridiculous. It's 500 light years across, and it's absolutely packed with stars. There's no way in this day and age you're going to think, you're going to try and get a good price for your carrots or whatever. So they buy LTDs. But you can sell those in the bubble for a good price, though, can't you, JT? So that wouldn't really be. A flat Galaxy Society faction. Okay. Maybe I should head, when this CG's over then, maybe I should head down there, do an update on everything and have a look and see what they're importing, what they actually want, and where they're getting it from, and how much they're. We'll need a notepad, clearly. We'll actually have a look and see if we can work out what we can get.
Attention all ships. This carrier is scheduled
Nick,
a
I kind of
hyperspace
hope
jump.
not,
Please
honestly.
conclude
Nick's
any
asking if
business in the
Odyssey
system
will
prior to departure.
if I think Odyssey will expand the
Carrier jump
bubble.
successful. Security checks are underway.
I'm kind of hoping not, to be honest. I don't think so. I can't see why Odyssey specifically would cause that to happen. I don't think it will expand outwards, but it's obviously going to expand inwards, if you see what I mean. So there's going to be, whereas you've got X number of planets at the moment that you can land on and do stuff in, the amount of available space, and I don't mean empty space, that you're going to have to mess around in, like planet side, in planetary terms, is going to increase to a hilarious level. So I kind of I kind of like the fact that the bubble's nice and enclosed, and then you've got the Witch Head sector down here, and then you've got we're about to have the Coalsack Nebula up here, like these little pockets of civilization. But I wouldn't want to get to a point where the bubble expands so much, for example, that it starts to encroach on those spaces. I don't know. I think it would start to make space feel too small, if that makes sense. So I'm kind of hoping it doesn't. Do you think it will then? I can't see why it would. Do you know what I mean? I can't see why it would expand out. I think they'd have to be really careful with that. I like the fact at the moment that when you go down to the Pleiades, there's this big area of dead space in the middle with nothing in it. And when you go to the Witch Head, there's a big area of dead space with nothing in it, and then it isn't that populated when you get there. And the same for the Coalsack, what's about to be out in the Coalsack. So I kind of hope they don't know. Like I say, I can't see why they'd have a reason to, because in inner space, if you know what I mean, is about to increase exponentially. So Galaxy's already littered with fleet carriers, even outside the bubble, into any system of greater interest in this. Yeah,
Carrier
yeah.
jump sequence is underway. Lockdown begins in 5
I
minutes.
suppose that is kind of a. I suppose it is sort of a disadvantage to fleet carriers. I get why it irritates people a little bit. I suppose it's like any, it's like any tourist destination, really, isn't it? You could go. There are beautiful parts of Arizona that are open, barren wilderness, but they're full of people. And I suppose the Galaxy in Elite Dangerous is liable to be suffering from that somewhat, in so much as if it's a well-known spot or a bit of a tourist destination, then it's going to be full of fleet carriers when you get there. But there is still a shed ton of space in between. There's still a shed ton of space in between where there isn't anything, I suppose. I get what you mean. I think I'd rather have the deep space support array than not have it. I have to say, I do quite like the fact, you only get one or two organised carriers in a sector at the most. But I suppose it's a bit of a shame that carriers are kind of being used as exploration vessels, exploration cruisers, I guess. I don't know if Frontier ever intended that to be the case, but it was. I would suggest probably they didn't originally design them to be that, because do you remember there was a bit of discussion about whether they had universal cartographics or not, and they didn't by default initially, until everybody kicked off and said I want universal cartographics, but then I suppose in the original design though that we saw before when they first started talking about carriers and then they went away for a while, do you remember that, and they got redesigned, there was an exploration carrier in there, so they obviously must have had some thought about them being exploration ships. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It's the same with any sort of any kind of online game. Everybody rushes to get to end game, for want of a. But I don't really like that term when it comes to elite, because it hasn't really got an end game. But carriers are sort of considered end game ships, and everybody rushes to get there, and as a consequence of which, there's thousands and thousands of carriers everywhere. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I wonder, sort of knowing what they know now, whether they designed them the same way. Do you think it actually ruins it though, Phil? Do you honestly think like the Deep Space Discovery experience is ruined? I agree, Wampus. Yeah, it was. It's got Buur Pit written. That's absolutely our style, isn't it? Buur Pit bio waste run, taking taking tons and tons of poo to the Witch Head sector. That's very us. We could call it Operation Plop. That would be. That's, at this very moment, Ree's going, "Oh, for God's sakes, I can't believe he said that." Yes, Matraxis, it is absolutely. Universal cartographics absolutely is essential if you're going to maintain a fleet carrier in the black. I agree completely. I think it was an inevitability that fleet carriers would be used um, as exploration vessels, whether Frontier designed them that way or not. I suppose if you're heading somewhere and there are other people there already, regardless of whether they're in a carrier or not, though, Phil, then it isn't discovery, is it really? I suppose it might be discovery for you, but if there are 4 carriers around it, then it's been discovered and shouted about. Carriers are the 3306 equivalent of towels on sun loungers. They are. They are. Right, we're about to get very, very busy. So, I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave you looking at this for a second. And I'm going to go for a very quick bio break. I might go and grab myself a cup of tea as well. So, I'll leave you with the game running. While I go and grab a cup of tea, and then we can start shipping stuff. So I'll turn the camera off, and I will be right back, people. I promise.
carrier is about to engage the frameshift drive. Please move to the minimum safe distance.
Attention all personnel. Frameshift drive has engaged.
Attention. Counting down to jump. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And as if by magic, ha ha! Sorry, I made you jump in. I apologise for that. It's almost like I did it on purpose. Do you like the way I teleport in and out then? It's very clever. DSSA is more like player-owned space stations. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yep. It is interesting, isn't it, Phil, actually, that very few things are discovered. If you think how much of the galaxy we've uncovered so far, which isn't really anything at all, is it? It's still less than 1%, still less than half of 1%, isn't it, I think? Stan's now meowing at me. We've hardly touched any of the galaxy, and yet there are no. I don't know. It's just my perception. Hello, mate. You all right? Do you want to come up? Come on in. Yes, I know. Can you hear him? Do you want to come up? Yeah, I know. Oh, come on then. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Stan, everybody. Yeah, there's so little of the galaxies actually been has been discovered, and yet there are no. I don't know. It's been a while since there's, unless I'm just not seeing it, but there are no sort of like, I don't know. You got systems like I'm trying to think of a good example, like the Awesomes or something like that. When was the last time someone discovered an Awesomes? But I can't believe all the amazing places have been found. That can't be the case. We jumped, didn't we? I'm sitting here chatting away to you, and we've jumped. Let's set up a purchase order. You right, Stan? Stan's making himself comfortable, as a consequence of which I'm extremely uncomfortable. That's how it is when you've got a cat. If anybody would like to help fill in the cave up, let's do that. There you go, 10.5-ish. You all right, cat? He's about to get very uncomfortable because there's no way I can sit like this for the rest of the stream. Love him. Go!
Landing gear retracted.
Let's fill up the cave.
Maintain a controlled speed until clear.
Stan, mate, you're brilliant and everything, but you can't. He's trying to lounge on the space between me and the keyboard. Just there you go. There you go. I know that's not comfortable, but you're going to have to work with it. I'm trying to fly a spaceship. Now we're doing some stuff. There's one Yagashura.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Some attracts is saying awesome places are continually being found photos and posts. I suppose that's true, mate. Yeah. So why? Where would you? Are they? I suppose. Okay. I suppose my question is they're not being. They're maybe not being named and publicised. You're right there, mate. Oh God, cats! What do you do? There's not been like a. But you know what I mean? There's not been like a, the only place I can think of the equivalent is somewhere like the Awesomes, where you've just got all this weird stuff all going on in one system all at the same time. I don't doubt it's out there, right? I know it's out there, and I imagine people are finding it. It's just why are we not hearing about it? I suppose it would be nice as well, wouldn't it, if with the introduction of Odyssey we could start putting names on stuff ourselves. And I understand completely that that's got to be moderated somehow, and that's then another overhead for Frontier to worry about. It's nice seeing all the hollow squares when you come back somewhere like this, isn't it? It's brilliant. There seems to be no activity to update the codex, no priority. Yeah. Hello, Science Keeper. How are you, mate?
Landing gear deployed.
No, mate. No, it was an impromptu stream. We decided to do it yesterday because this CG has been so brilliant. I don't want it to end, to be honest. But we decided yesterday that this CG is so brilliant. I knew I was going to be playing, so we decided to we as an entity decided to stream.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
It's great as well because that's just so awesome. I arrive in the system, so I'm loading up, and boom, there's loads of hollow squares everywhere and freighters going backwards and forwards. I love it when the game does this. We're really good here, thank you, Science Keeper. Yeah, really good.
Ship uncoupled. You are go for departure.
Have you been doing anything in this? Have you been participating in this CG at all? What was it? Zoff mentioned yesterday, by the way. He was looking
Frameshift
at some of
charge detected.
the text of the current CG. I think I don't want to misquote you, Zoffy, if you're around, but I'm sure he said in the text of the current CG, um, it it almost implies that we might have a mining CG at some point in the near future. I'm dubious, honestly. I'm not sure whether that would be the case. I think, particularly with the state of mining at the moment, bless it, um, they might take a bit too much flack for that, but you never know. If you're gonna
Frameshift
participate,
drive charging.
science, if you're doing the trade side of it, um,
4, 3,
it's
2,
in its final
1.
tier at the moment.
Engage.
It's about halfway through its final tier, so it won't it won't be going for long. But if it is going, definitely um, get involved if you can. The cat is currently, sorry, the reason I'm a little distracted is that the cat is now sticking his claws in my right thigh. So that's nice. They just give and give, don't they? Kevin, tell us about Tawanta and your involvement there. Okay, so I think the system that allows it is currently offline. It has been for a while. Offline in a... Oh, what did I just do? I didn't want to do that. I'm so sorry, I just left the wing. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to invite Grime in. Can someone... when my progress bar's gone, Yago, would you be able to bring me back into the wing, please? I can hear the look on Yago's face at the moment. So Kevin, sorry. So there used to be a system in the game, and I don't think it's gone away. I just think it's possibly on hold, although I could be wrong in that regard. So it might be worth ignoring everything I'm saying. But
Landing
basically,
gear
there's a
deployed.
there's a system at Frontier where if you are a player group, an active player group of a sufficient size, you can apply to have a minor faction, a player minor faction in the game. So I'll show you. Let me just get rid of everything in my cargo hold and wrestle all the cat out of the way, and then I can show you what I'm talking about. So where are we? Right. So goodbye, Stan. Thank you very much for stopping by. So here is Tawanta. Oh, um, and yeah, there's a system that basically where as a player group you can apply to Frontier. It's a really simple process. It's not in the least bit complicated, but you can apply to Frontier to have a player minor faction of your own put into the game. And there's a few little hoops and tick boxes that you have to fulfill, but none of it's terribly complicated at all. And one of the things you have to do is go and choose 3 potential candidate star systems for your faction to reside in. Again, there's a few hoops and a few criteria that have to be correctly fulfilled there. And again, none of it's awfully complicated. And if you go through that process and you get approved, you can have a player minor faction of your own for your community put into the game. So that's what we've got. So in Tawanta, it's the home of the Burian Protectorate. which the text of which you can't see because my face is over it. But what it does say is the home of the Burian Protectorate. The Burian Protectorate is a band of independent pilots. It's self-funded and engages in a wide variety of opportunities and professions. And it will show that on the in-game map. And you choose like your political allegiance and whether you're a follower of the Empire or the Feds or all that kind of stuff. Whether you kind of thank you very much, Yag. Whether you kind of align yourself to
Landing gear retracted.
a power in the game. We don't. We keep ourselves about as neutral as we can be. And then once you've done that, you can then participate. Not that you can't normally anyway, but you've then got a faction in the game that you can try and steer, I suppose, by performing different actions like getting involved in wars and trade. You can actually expand the influence of your faction and take over other star systems. So it's a kind of meta game
4,
that sort of runs underneath
1,
the main game
engage.
that people are probably mostly familiar with. I hope I explained that correctly. So essentially our community and channel and squadron have got our own faction in the game called the Burian Protectorate is the short version that Frontier put there for us. Not because we're particularly special in any regard, because we're not. It's just because we applied. And it's a great thing to do. It's brilliant. There's General Zoff, who is our controls our BGS, our background simulation stuff, and he's the master manipulator behind the scenes that decides where we go, what we do, and how we go about what we do. So the Burian Protectorate has now expanded into, it's about 20 odd systems, I want to say, isn't it, Yaga? Something like that. I think we started off in Tawanta and we're now in about 20 different star systems, something like that. I know it's something terrifying. I remember saying to Zoff when all this started, oh, we're not looking to be an empire or anything like that. We'll just have, we'll just have a little bit of back garden. And Zoff wasn't keen on that. Zoff wanted the galaxy, as far as I can work out. So, blood clot. I agree. 31 systems we're in apparently. Thank you, JT. That's absolutely terrifying. Blood clot. I agree. Background simulation is one of the things that makes Elite. It's amazing, isn't it? A lot of people don't really know it's there. No problem, Kevin. No problem. Yeah, a lot of people don't realise it's there and that you can do it. But every time you go and perform some sort of action in any star system anywhere, it has a small effect on the factions in that system, either positive or negative, depending on what you do. So if you've got a faction that you're working for and you've got enough people all working together, you can adversely or positively affect that faction in whatever way you want, really. It's really good fun. It gives you a nice focus, if you know what I mean. Once you've
Cargo hold at maximum
like I say, I hate the term end game when it comes to Elite, because I don't believe Elite has an end game really, but you could argue, I suppose, it's one of those things that when you get to the point in Elite where you've got all the money and all the ships and all that kind of thing, it's a nice focus for you to, once you've achieved everything you want to achieve, it then gives you something else that you can be getting on with. Rear view mirrors is something I would very much like to see. I've stuffed this up completely because I wasn't concentrating. I take it someone's coming in. Oh no, he's going out. Okay. There he goes. This is going to be a bit of an untidy exit. Oh, that wasn't too bad. I wish you could bind a nice, and I want a nice key bind for the autopilots, so I can just turn them on and off at will. That would be really useful. I tend to have them switched on most of the time, like for just convenience sake, for particularly when I'm streaming, just so that I can sort of
3, 2,
kick it off doing something
1.
and then
Engage.
concentrate on something else. But it would be nice just to be able to flick a button on my joystick and turn them off as and when, because for example, before we started streaming this afternoon, I was completely manual landing and takeoff, so, and it was nice, but it would be nice to just kind of flick it on the odd occasion. Deliberate loop here. Wow, look at all that. Did you see all that arrive then? That was awesome.
Hello, Commander. Please remain alert for other ships in the vicinity.
That was a bit special.
Request confirmed. Move to your designated pad, Commander. Request accepted. Your docking computer has assumed control.
Where are the furry dice? Couldn't agree more. Okay, Yaga, present in 36 systems, controlling 21. There we go. Yeah, so we have like, so what Blood Clot's saying there, especially with Discord mission boards, etc. We have
Landing gear deployed.
daily, what's the word I'm looking for? Like our daily orders, I suppose. So what the general needs us to do, which is nice. So you just kind of like, if you sort of sit down at Elite and think, well, I don't know what to do today, you can just look at the daily instructions and just kind of go, okay, I need to go here and do this for this reason. He puts a nice like little summary of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what we need to do to achieve what we're after. And another great thing about Zoff as well is that he is very much the diplomat as well. So he'll where we're kind of expanding into systems that have got other player factions in there, rather than just go barreling in. He'll negotiate with them for us. Jesus, the pit's it's nearly full up already. He'll negotiate for us, and
Clamps have released. Maintain a controlled speed until
what is the
cleared.
status or goal of the faction? I think probably the goal of the faction is more standing orders. Thank you, Ree. The goal of the faction is to expand, I suppose. There isn't as such a goal that we can work towards really, as an overarching goal. There isn't, but we've got lots and lots of little goals which kind of which tie into our. So we don't have like a status as such. So we're in so many systems that our status is kind of like, well, we're at war in that one. We're in a state of boom in that one. That one's got a famine. That one's got, an election going on or something like that. So it's, yeah, the status is kind of all over the place, really. But generally speaking, we're a very friendly, cooperative, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not adversarial as such. We will negotiate our way through space, rather than barrel our way through. But it's also it's really nice as well that it varies depending on what else is going on in the game. But we're also a very, 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 very active faction, which is lovely. So if we, Zoff has kind of got I hope has got the confidence that he can turn around and go, we really need to do this because we absolutely have to achieve this thing. Then particularly certain individuals who are present in this stream at the moment and others who are on our Discord all the time will absolutely just make it happen, which is quite nice. Hello, Psykit. How are you? Psykit's here, everyone. Are you all right, mate? What you doing? just try and get out of everybody's way. Oh, there's 39 over there. If I slide over there and then let the autopilot take over. There we go.
Landing gear deployed.
I love the interview with Alec Turner, psychic. We took we don't get a lot of time to listen to podcasts, but Flight Assist is most definitely. How close are we to the finish? Pretty damn close, actually, mate. There you go. If you're talking about the trade run, anyway, and to be honest, I think the AX one is only lagging a little way behind, understandably. But yeah, the trade one will. That's really hard to say. The trade one will definitely be done today, definitely, without a shadow. Did I actually stock up on stuff? I didn't. Building fabs.
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
Just walked the dog and gave him a bath. How did he feel about that? Was he quite a cooperative hound when it comes to baths?
Landing gear retracted.
Disengage from landing pad. You are go for departure.
Okay, yeah. Have you got? Is your carrier completely full of them? Because I've had that problem a few times. Not on this CG yet, but I once ended up with a carrier full of water. We were discussing, actually, before you arrived, mate, we were discussing sort of the possibility of trying to do this kind of thing ourselves, essentially. Long distance carrier assisted trade runs. And a bit more research required, but at the moment it looks like the Witch Head sector might well be in the market for tons and tons of bio waste, which is quite funny.
Be careful out there, Commander.
It was not a positive experience. Wasn't it, Elfina? Wasn't it?
Frame shift drive charging.
Honestly, my carrier was sloshing around for about a week
4, 3,
before I finally got round to
2,
loading it all into a
1.
Type 9 and then
Engage.
just destroying it, just to get rid of it. Bit more than a swimming pool, and it was practically an ocean. Here we go.
Welcome, Commander. Please request docking permission before approaching a landing pad.
Are you coming in, Seal Too Fast? Are you shipping stuff, mate? Are you bringing us gear?
Permission granted. Check your landing pad assignment.
Did everybody on our Discord, by the way, did you see that Siren got her fleet carrier today? Which was awesome to see. It's always nice when someone gets their first fleet carrier. Wintermute, yeah, that would be nice. We do need some sort of
Deployed.
rear and side, or some way of kind of. You know what I'd like, actually? You could use the camera suite if you could bind a camera position to a key, so you just kind of like, rather than kind of go jump out into the camera suite, turn the joystick, get yourself lined up and go, okay, I can see behind. If you could just like bind that camera position to sort of F5 or something, so you could set up a macro at the very least that would then kind of dive you out into the camera and boom, and swing you around. That would be incredibly useful. You could then have an actual rear view mirror. I suppose I mean, at the very least, what it really needs is, you know, the little diagram at the bottom of the screen when you take off, when you land and take off, that shows you your ship. Well, when you're landing, that's useful. when you're
Landing
taking
gear
off,
retracted.
who cares? Like now, I don't care what my ship's going up. But what I do care about is that view. I do want the radar at that point. So you kind of like, I don't know. You maybe need an option to turn off the diagram when you take off. Or am I mad? That would be useful, wouldn't it? Surely that would be really useful. So you get like it doesn't. You do get that view obviously, but not until you get off the pad for quite some way, and it's kind of like, oh, not until you get off the pad,
Charging.
and you kind of need it.
Four, three.
Thank you, Yaga and Ree. Cheers. Thanks for that.
Engage.
What I will do, people, is we'll carry on. I have got a. Oh, didn't want to do that. I have got a doing the thing lined up for today. Regular to the show. Yeah, you'd find the macroing a camera view really handy, wouldn't you? Ree? Regular to the show will know that towards the tail end every week, we always have a little section called Doing the Thing, where I get something from our great collection of geek stuff and just show it on camera real quick. Usually a model or frankly a toy. Let's be honest. I have got a Doing the Thing lined up for today. I can't remember if I've shown this particular Doing the Thing before. I don't think I have. I hope I haven't anyway. But if I have, if it appears on camera and you lot go, we've seen this already, I can go and grab you something else. But I have got a Doing the Thing lined up, so we'll do that soon. I'm going to leave the cave filling up, and then I will keep a sharp eye on it. And once it's filled up, it will jump back to the Coalsack because we've got time to unload it still. So I will jump to the Coalsack. So if you want a lift to the Coalsack today, then we'll jump out there, and as soon as it's empty, we will jump back again. So I won't leave anyone stranded if you want a lift out there to carry on doing the stuff. And the buy price at the other end to make it worth your while will be hilariously cheap. I mean, that's what I suppose. That's one of the things that's often forgotten. Actually, is when Odyssey launches, are we going to get any quality of life improvements? I can't believe we aren't. Surely, you know, little things that people have been barking about for years and years. Like, I'm buying on. What am I doing? Like the old favourite is the bookmark system for the maps. For the map. You know, the bookmarks at the moment are awful, really. It's just a dirty, great big long list, and it's been like that for years. Surely Odyssey would be an opportunity to sort that out. That would be an easy win, wouldn't it? That can't be difficult, he says, knowing almost nothing about game development. I wonder what stuff like that will get. It's so awesome seeing the station really, but I mean the station's always busy, to be honest, but when we're doing something like this and you've got all these hollow squares flying backwards and forwards, all doing the same thing, this is the good stuff, isn't it? There's one. Here we go.
Frameshift drive charging.
And also you get frameshift drive charging problems because there's so many big ships that aren't winged. I hope we get bigger wings, actually. Is that just me? I'd
Four,
like
three,
like a
two,
much larger,
1. Engage.
a bit more flexible wing system. So rather than just having 4 ships in a wing, you know, I'm not being funny. I'd like 20. Like, I don't know what you'd call it then. Whether it would still count as a wing. Squadron's clearly taken, but you know what I mean. I'd like, you know, because most stuff, particularly when you're in a community like ours, most stuff that happens in large groups. Loop of shame. Happens in large groups. With upwards of sort of 20 people all together. The voice comms are a bit chaotic at that point, but it's always funny. But I would really like to see like a slightly more all-encompassing wing system, where you can have a lot more people, almost like a wing of wings. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you could get like loads of people wing together, and then you could wing those wings together. So you still get your 3 people on screen, but then you can kind of be in a larger whole kind of thing.
Welcome, Commander.
And you want to be able to throw down a squadron or a sort of you need a beacon that you can either drop in space or drop on the ground, and everybody locks onto that beacon rather than to a ship. And if you're locked onto that beacon, god damn it, you're guaranteed to be in the same instance. Minor whinge over. But you know what I mean. That would be useful, wouldn't it? A mega wing. Thank you, Phil. Odyssey Halo jumps. We talked about it. We kind of briefly mentioned this, didn't we? Thank you, Joe. So the CG goods have got to 27 million plus, but it's filling quickly. It has. The whole thing's gone really quickly, hasn't it? Here comes the Buur Armada. Flotilla, is that the right word? Or a fleet, maybe? I always thought it was weird that squadrons were called squadrons. Actually, that didn't sound that. I always thought it should have been a fleet, but it was always a bit odd, particularly when they announced it back in 2017. The whole fleet carrier thing. It was going to be a squadron-owned asset, so it wasn't so like your squadron wasn't called a fleet, but it had a fleet carrier, and that there was kind of a weird mismatch there. Looking back on it, it was very odd, that announcement, you know, the fleet carrier announcement. It didn't feel like, you know, with hindsight, it doesn't feel like they were ready to announce it at all. It kind of feels like when they announced it, it was kind of like, oh, we need a headline before we go. And you got 5k left, look. What's that? That's about 5 runs, isn't it, really?
Ship released. Maintain a controlled speed until clear.
How are we doing for time? Coming up on 2 hours. Should we carry on? Should we make sure we get the pit get the cave full before we stop? The other thing as well is the CG at the other end, right? Oh, it just makes me want to put my face through the desk. So the other end of the CG, there's a mega ship that you're dropping the freight off at. But it's only got 1 large landing pad. It's a whole mega ship, and it's got 1 large landing pad. It just drives you nuts. I think it's got like somewhere between sort of 3 and 5 landing pads in total. I can't remember exactly. If anybody knows, do tell me. But why aren't they all large landing pads? Because then anybody could use them. Look at all the bright lights. That Spirit of Nissa ship or whatever it's called, that needs a serious upgrade. Go on, Yags, go in, mate. I think you were going anyway, weren't you? I feel like accessing stations like this needs a queuing system as well, like actual proper traffic control, especially situations like this. Let's just go and do the manual thing really quickly. always find it really hard to see if anybody's actually coming in or going out, depending on what I'm doing. You can often see that there's a ship there, but you can't tell what way it's going,
Landing gear deployed.
which makes it really exciting. A little bit of ship shuffle. There we go.
Docking successful. Perform landing checklist. You are
Hello, I would like to buy all your building fabricators, please. I'll tell you what, it's a good weekend to
Cargo
be in the
hold
building
at
fabricator
maximum
business
capacity.
at Wilson Port. My God. See, I wonder what all this would have been doing to our background simulation. If anybody knows, do please tell me. Because we haven't had money coming in, but we've had a shed ton of goods going out, so that's got to do something, surely.
Landing gear retracted.
ship uncoupled. Moderate speed on exit.
That would be having some kind of effect on the BGS, wouldn't it? Or does it not work like that? Oh hell! Sorry. There was a Type 6 to my right then. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. They hardly ever die when you hit them. It's fine. This is going to be a hell of a ship to look at. Whatever you think of the Type 9, it's going to be a hell of a ship to look at from ground level when you're on feats.
You are clear of station
When we're walking around in our elite feats.
Commander.
It's going to be like looking at a football stadium.
Frameshift drive charging. 4.
Purchases are minimal, they say. That kind of makes sense, to be
Engage.
honest. Winter mute, that would be brilliant. That would make sense, Psychic. Yeah, that would make sense. The other end of the equation, however, the selling of would obviously make all the difference, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to have Ivanova on voice comms, actually. That would be... I think I got a feeling you'd probably be kept waiting quite a lot, though. Do you know what I mean? I think she'd be very, very bad-tempered most of the time.
07, Commander. Welcome to our carrier.
Did you hear my carrier say 07 then, by the way? I think that's really cute. I really like that. But I know at least one person took exception to it and reported it as a bug.
Landing pad assignment.
Obviously in full and clear knowledge that it wasn't a bug, but they didn't like the fact that they had to put up with people saying 07 all the time in the community. And then when they turned up at their fleet carrier did it as well, and they made a complaint to Frontier. That's an actual thing. There was actually a problem log, a fault logged at Frontier for that. Believe it or not. Each to his own, I guess. But why would you be upset by that? I think the 07 thing's really cute. Don't you? It's like such an elite thing. I know it's sort of bled over into Star Citizen and stuff like that, but it was elites to start with, wasn't it? I'm certain it was.
Touchdown.
90% are we Magnum? Thank you very much, mate.
Can we help, Commander?
I'm wondering whether to call it there then and start jumping the carrier. What do we think? I'm going to be stuck with a shed ton of building fabs, aren't I? Oh no, we'll make that. Be alright. Look, that's okay. How are we doing on how much we've got left? 1,800. I'll tell you what, I'll do one more run. I reckon that will be us,
Landing gear retracted.
I would imagine. If everyone else carries on shipping,
Launch is go.
I can't imagine that won't top it off. Look at all those hollow squares. You people are amazing. You lot are lovely. Look at that. Even you, Yaga.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two.
Yeah, we've got, yeah, Reenie points out we've got oh 07 on our back windscreen. He'd probably want to put his face through it. Sorry, but I love the fact that we've got an oh 07 Commander on the back of our car. And I know that makes me a colossal nerd. I'm kind of okay with that at this point. I'm dead proud of it, and I hope one day someone's walking through a supermarket car park somewhere and they see our car and it gives them a little smile.
Lakon, Bravo, Papa, Sierra. It's good to see you, Commander. Please enjoy your stay at this facility. Access granted. Proceed to Bay 40.
Thank you, Nick. See you later, mate. Enjoy the rest of your evening, buddy. Thanks for stopping by, man. Yaga, oi. What? Is there someone there? I can't tell. I don't think there is. No, there isn't. Okay.
2,000 meters from touchdown.
Brian Wright, thank you very much, mate. All yours, buddy.
Landing gear deployed.
Seeing some manual landings today, people, for the sake of speed. That's not something I normally do on stream. I wonder if this will be the last one. Ah, Science Keeper. Nice. Nice.
Welcome, Commander.
That is commitment. Are you watching Discovery at the moment, Science Keeper, and how are you finding it?
Cargo hold at maximum capacity.
I was a little bit disappointed by Picard, I have to say. It didn't really do it for me. Hello, Bob. You're right, mate. It didn't really do it for me to the point where I didn't even finish the series,
Landing gear
which is
retracted.
practically unheard of.
Landing restraint.
But I'm enjoying Discovery a lot more. I like the fact that it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong, but I like the fact that it's so different. And it is so very, very different. It almost on occasions doesn't feel like Trek, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Because one of Trek's great successes is that it's so formulaic. You kind of know what you're getting with a Trek series, but carrier's full. Brilliant. Okay. All right, the carrier's full, people. So I'm going to land on it with the load that I've got and start the jumps to back to the community goal. So if anybody wants to lift out there,
Restrictions. Be careful out there, Commander.
please do jump on board.
Frameshift drive charging. 4,
And as soon as the things, I'll keep a tight eye on it. And as soon as it's empty, I'll bring it back to Toanta again. We won't be hanging around when we get there. Wintermute really likes Discovery. I'll tell you what, Winter, I love the Spore Drive. You know, Star Trek Online. I can't remember what I bought Star Trek Online when it first came out, and I've got whatever tier it was I bought it at. It means I get their virtual currency that they use for their microtransactions on the store. I get a few of those delivered to me every month, and I don't really play it anymore. But I nip in every now and then and have a look. I've got kind of a soft spot for it. But when I do nip back in, I've got absolutely shed tons of those, of whatever their equivalent of arcs, whatever their equivalent of arcs is called. I've got absolutely buckets. It's like real money value. I've got buckets of it, absolutely buckets of it. So I can afford to buy their lock boxes, which are horrendous. Obviously, I can't bear lock boxes, but I get them for free. So the short version of that is basically every now and then, if they've got a particularly interesting ship, I'll go on there, buy a horrific, offensive amount of lock boxes, like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth of lock boxes. Zen, thank you, Science Keeper. I'll go and buy a horrific amount of their lock boxes. It doesn't cost me any real money. And sit there opening them, and as a consequence of which, I've got the Discovery. I've got the Discovery complete with the spore drive and everything, so it does spore drive jumps in Star Trek Online. And the really offensive thing is that I don't use it. I know that's terrible, but I obviously haven't got capacity to play Star Trek Online anymore, despite having some really, really cool stuff from lockboxes. I can queue up the jumps actually, can't I? Yeah, so if anybody wants to go with the carrier, get yourself on board. You have 15 minutes. Where has my web browser gone? It is there. And we are going there. Okay. The cave is jumping, people. You have 15 minutes. Right. I tell you what. While that's cooking on gas, we'll do the thing. So brace yourself. I'm going to turn the full face camera on. Some of you may be deeply distressed by this. That button there. There we go. Hello. Okay. I can't remember, as I said before, I can't remember if we've done this one before. If we have, I apologise unreservedly. If you haven't seen this before, then great. If we have shown this before, then I will go and get another one. So at the worst case scenario, you'll get two. So this is an action figure of a sort. Now, all the action figures that I've got, I do not keep them in the box. I'm not one of those. I can't do that. They're all on they're all out. They're all on a shelf. They've all been messed around with. But the reason this one is still in its case and will stay in its case is because the case for this one is part of the experience, right? Okay, so Ree probably knows what I'm going to show already. This is the Monolith from 2001 as an action figure. So there we go. That's this week's Doing the Thing. There is a Monolith from 2001 as an action figure. The reason I keep it in the box, if I can show you, I don't know if this will come out on camera, is because of all this on the back. It's so funny. It's got collect them all. So you can have Tycho Monolith 2, Tycho Monolith Anomaly 0. Yeah, it's just the stuff on the back just made me laugh. So yeah, it's a Tycho Monolith action figure from 2001. I desperately want to open the thing, to be brutally honest. I do want to open it. And the box is so old now, and it's actually yellowing a bit and going a bit odd. So I don't know. Maybe one day we'll open it. I could maybe do it on stream. Would that be a thing? I don't know. But yeah, this is this TMA1? This is is this TMA1 or 2? Yeah, this is TMA1. So there we go. Yeah, what do we think? Ree hates it. Yeah, Ree absolutely hates it for reasons I don't quite understand. I think it's hilarious. No, I don't think I can open it either, mate. That's the point, Ree. That's why it's funny. Hello, Kane. How are you, mate? Hello, Clartu. You all right, mate? How much did it set me back? I can't remember. It wasn't horrendously expensive. Well, it was probably more expensive than it should be for a solid plastic block. But It's from I don't know if they sell them anymore, but it was from Think Geek. If you know them, I think it was something they produced for themselves. It hasn't actually got 2001 written on it anywhere, so it's, you know, it's done without permission of the owners of the franchise, if 2001 is even a franchise. Yeah, it talks on the back about, I won't bore you with the specifics, but it talks on the back about all the different points of articulation, and it's accurate and all that kind of thing. The most expensive piece of Ulysses you've ever seen, Yaga. I mean, come on, it's beautiful. So TMA 1 was on the crater on the moon, was it? Was it that one? Okay. Klaatu, I haven't. Do they do one? Because I'd be quite tempted by that. If I really wanted to drive mad, I could get the Invisible Man action figure as well, yeah. So there we go. That's this week's Doing the Thing. Is probably the thing on the shelf that Ree likes most of the stuff on the shelf, but this is the thing that she absolutely hates with a vengeance, to the point where it wasn't allowed to live on the shelf for quite a long time. She made me keep it in the toilet. It's the Tycho monolith from 2001. There we go. That's this week's. It is a Mickey take, Winnemute. It is, yes. Oh, with the Invisible Man. Oh no, this is a Mickey take. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. It is. It's full of stars, no less. Found one on Amazon, slightly battered box, 58. Worth every penny, Grime. Worth every penny. Can't recommend them enough. It's absolutely 100% movie accurate. The Tycho monolith anomaly. That's exactly what it is. Oh, it's the Tycho magnetic anomaly, wasn't it? I think, in actual fact. Wasn't it the Tycho magnetic anomaly? Because it was in the Tycho crater on the moon, and it was a magnetic anomaly that drew them to that area, made them dig it up, and then they discovered the monolith that was causing it. And as soon as sunlight touched it, it sent a signal to Jupiter, and there the story begins. So there we go. That is going to do it for now, boys and girls. Thank you very much for joining us for this madness. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. It was a bit odd, I'm not going to lie. The start of the stream was very much not what I expected it to be, but that's okay. We still got some shipping done. Thank you very much, everybody who participated and helped me fill up the cave so quickly. I really appreciate it.
Attention all ships. This carrier is
He won't notice if I sell it. He will notice. Don't you dare.
business in the system prior to departure.
If you want to get out to the CG, jump on the carrier now. And like I say, we will empty it at the other end as soon as humanly possible, and then come back again. Yeah, I love 2001 as well. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. If you're not aware of what we do already, there's links in the description below. If you're not on our Discord, do please join and come and say hi. We got lots of stuff like this going on all the time. There's always something going on. It's a wonderful, wonderful, busy community, and it absolutely brings Elite to life. It really does. 07, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Take care of those around you. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Take it seriously. We will get to the end of all this nonsense, I promise. Thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you, I think probably, probably, definitely Thursday. And if we get the time to do something else before then, we will. But otherwise, I'll see you Thursday. Have a good week. Thank you. Have a good week, people. Where's my off button? There. I'm not going to push that one. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that one. See you later, guys.